You were born in a cave. It's quiet. It's dark. Everyone there walks on familiar paths, slowly, in a circle. They look at the wall, where shadows wander like ghosts of memories that never happened. The shadows speak. They laugh, promise, they threaten. But they never look back. Because in this cave you can only look forward at the wall, at the screen, at the illusions. You were born in a cave, not because you wanted to be, but because everyone around you is also in it. And they said, this is life. This is love. This is freedom. This is happiness. Look, the lights are flashing, the shadows are moving, everything is as it should be. Here are the rules. Here's your role. Put it on and you'll be normal. If you don't, you'll become dangerous. You have learned to live in the dark. You have learned to read gestures, to understand hints, to believe words that mean nothing. You built your own little niche in this big prison. You called it home. You even started to be proud of it. The cave became your reality. But you did not know that there was something else. Because when you have never seen light, darkness seems normal, natural, safe. You lived like everyone else. You reacted like everyone else. You were silent when it hurt. You laughed when you wanted to cry. And the shadows on the wall seemed so real that other worlds disappeared from your imagination. You didn't ask, because you can't ask. A question is a threat. It is already a doubt. And doubt is the beginning of loss, the loss of illusion. But deep inside you there was a crack. A small one, almost invisible. It appeared back when you first felt that everything was fake. That laughter sounds fake. That love is an exchange. That the truth is unwanted. The crack grew, but you hid it under a layer of masks, under a layer of convenient words, under a layer of roles. And one day, it became quiet. Too quiet. So much so that you heard yourself. It was not a voice. It wasn't a voice. It was a space. Inside. Empty. Cold. And honest. At that moment, the cave trembled for the first time. It's not gone. It will still hold you. It will still scare you. It will persuade you to stay. It will do everything to make you come back again. Because you are a part of her. Her fruit. Her shadow. But the crack has already become an opening. And light is seeping through it. Real light. Painful. Boundless. Now it is in you. A powerful conclusion. The one who has never left the cave does not know that he is in it. And the one who has seen the light at least once will never be the same. You were not born a mask, but you were taught to be one. From a very young age you were shown who you should become. Not directly, but with glances, with reactions, expectations. You were told to be obedient, be strong, don't cry, smile, give in, act like a girl, like a man, like normal. And you were, not all at once, but gradually, first for the sake of love, then for the sake of acceptance, and then just out of habit. You put on the clothes that others made for you, and you believed that it was you. This is how the persona appeared. A social mask, a protector, an intermediary between your true self and the outside world. It was necessary. It made it possible to live in the system. But over time it became too dense. It became attached to the skin, and you forgot that it was a mask. But every actor has lines that they don't say. There are scenes in which they are not allowed to act. There are feelings that don't fit into the script. And all this, what cannot be shown, goes into the shadow. The shadow is not evil. It is simply something that you were not allowed to be. It contains your aggression, which was feared, your sexuality, which was shamed, your wildness that was tamed. It contains your tears, your shame, your pain, but also your strength, your honesty, your authenticity. The shadow is not something you chose. It is something you hid. Every time you said, I'm fine, even though you were falling apart. Every time you laughed so as not to be awkward. Every time you were silent because you were afraid to speak, you were feeding the shadow. It was growing. And the bigger your mask became, the deeper your shadow became. A gap was born inside you. One of you is on the stage. The other one is in the dark. And this gap hurts. Because you can never completely relax. Because you always have to keep an image. Because you always have to be someone. To be responsible. To play. To win. To justify yourself. To be good. To be strong. To be yours. And the worst thing is that in the end you forget who you were before all this. You don't know what I is anymore. There are only roles, expectations, reactions, images, and then life loses its taste. Because a mask can smile but it cannot feel. A mask is convenient, but it never loves. It never screams. It never burns. It only imitates. Meanwhile the shadow is waiting. It does not disappear. It patiently accumulates in the darkness of the subconscious. And sooner or later it breaks through. Through an explosion. Through depression. Through loss of meaning. Through illness. Through a crisis. Because she is not the enemy. She is you. Forgotten. Displaced. The real you. A powerful conclusion. Everything that you avoid in yourself begins to control your life later. And you are no longer a person, you are a reaction. Translated with deephell.com free version. You thought that the main thing was stability. To be calm. To be clear. To be without shocks. And you tried to build a small world around you where everything was under control. A job that doesn't cause fear. People with whom you don't have to be real. Habits that don't need to change. It seemed like safety. Comfort. You were praised for it. They said, "You're good. You're doing everything right." And you listened and nodded. Although nothing moved inside. It was quiet there. But not calm. Because over time, comfort becomes a cage. Not because there is something bad in it, but because it does not allow you to grow. It stops you. It freezes you. It sucks you in like sand, gently, without pain but without a trace. You wake up in the morning and expect nothing. The whole day goes on as usual. The same faces. The same words. The same thoughts. The same actions. And it seems that you are living. But you are just functioning. You feel like you're wrapped in a warm blanket but you're suffocating under it. The comfort zone is a trap. Because it doesn't hurt. It does not push. It does not scream. It just gently holds you in place while the years pass. While life passes. A person who has never been exposed to the unknown loses himself. He gets used to it. He begins to believe that his dreams were naive. That the real thing is bills, deadlines, and colleagues' birthdays. She convinces herself that she doesn't want any more. Because she is afraid. Because fear is the main guardian of this cage. Fear of change. Fear of failure. Fear of being rejected. Fear of starting over. Fear of giving yourself the right to live differently. You could have broken free. But you had to take a risk. And you learn not to take risks. Because it's quiet here. And you have a status. You have a roof over your head. You have a list of things to hold on to. But there is one thing that is no longer there. The fire. You put it out so you wouldn't burn it. You put it out so that it doesn't burn you. You put it out so it wouldn't destroy. But along with it, life disappeared. Comfort is not evil. But when you turn it into the main value, you forget why you came to this world. And the world does not give anything real to those who do not dare to leave the cave. A powerful conclusion. Comfort is not freedom. It is a forgotten prison with soft walls. And its doors are always open. But only those who remember that they once knew how to burn can get out. Man is afraid of the dark. But even more, he is afraid of light. Because the darkness is familiar. You can hide in it. You can justify your inaction. You can remain silent as if it were necessary. But light exposes you. It shows who you have become. And who you have not become. Light is the truth. It hurts. It does not allow you to look away. It pierces the deepest layers of protection and brings you to the brink. Because there is no one else to hide behind. There is no mask that can withstand this gaze. You said you wanted changes. But when they started touching you, you got scared. Because change means the end of the old. And the end is a loss. Even if what you lose is a prison. Freedom is not free space. Freedom is responsibility. Most people do not run away from oppression. They run away from choice. Because choice forces you to act. It makes you leave the role of a victim. It makes you recognize that everything now depends on me. Not on the government. Not on my parents. Not on society. It depends on me. And this is scary. Because it's easier to say, I can't. There is no possibility. It's not the right time. Not the right circumstances. Not the right country. It's easier that way. This is how you can stay in a safe swamp, where there is neither victory nor defeat, only the usual wandering in a circle. Light is a mirror. It does not create an image, it shows. And if you have been running away from yourself for 20 years, the first thing you will see in this mirror is pain. The abyss. Emptiness. But only by looking there can you return. Most people choose to live in the dark because in the light you have to be real. You have to say no when it's convenient to be silent. You have to act when you want to hide. You have to feel when it is easier to close. And yet, light requires forgiveness. For yourself. Of others. Of the past. Light does not tolerate fiction. It does not accept self-deception. It does not listen to excuses. It only stands silently in front of you, waiting for you to say the main thing, I am. These are the simplest two words, and the most terrible, because they mean that you take responsibility for the pain you haven't let go of yet, for the dreams you have buried, for the truth that you were afraid to say, for the life that you have not yet begun to live. Freedom is not a gift. It is a challenge. Only the one who goes through the pain of the light can truly come out of the cave. A powerful conclusion. True freedom begins where all your excuses end. And if you dare to look, you will see yourself. And that's where the journey begins. Everything that you have not lived continues to live in you. You have forgotten the night you were betrayed. The phrase that erased your self-worth. The silence when you were screaming inside. But those moments have not disappeared. They became the foundation of your personality. Pain does not disappear on its own. It either turns into wisdom or repetition. If you don't give it a voice, it will whisper in your choices, in your relationships, in your fears, in every "I can't" that really sounds like "it hurts." A person is not a page. He is a whole novel. And many of the chapters in it are written by him or her. But even more are written by the pain she keeps silent about. Every wound is a door. But most people close them and leave them inside. They hide the pain under smiles, sarcasm, success, irony. They run forward just to avoid stopping. Because in stopping there are voices, images, emptiness. But until you look at these shadows, they will guide you. You choose a partner not with your heart, but with your trauma. You choose a job not out of a vocation, but out of a need to hide. You build a life to avoid pain, not to breathe freely. And every time something doesn't work out, you say, "It just happened." But in reality, it's just an old script. Written by the child in you. The one who wanted love but got coldness. The one who wanted to be heard but was interrupted. The one who wanted to be herself but was constantly corrected. The past has no power over you. But it does your reaction to it. If you allow pain to remain invisible, it turns into fate, into repetition, into a vicious circle. But as soon as you recognize it, "I was hurt," you begin to break it. The ghosts of the past don't want to destroy you. They want to be heard. They don't come from the darkness. They come from your heart. And only you can give them peace. You are not to blame for what was done to you. But you are responsible for what you do with it. A powerful conclusion. What you have not healed controls you. But as soon as you stop running away, the scenario does not repeat itself. And you start writing a new one. Once upon a time you put on a mask. Maybe as a child. Maybe a little later. When you realized that the real you was too much. Too emotional. Too soft. Too dreamy. Too loud. Too vulnerable. And to survive, you learned to be comfortable. You smiled when you wanted to scream. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You agreed when your body was clenched in resistance. And over time, you didn't even notice how this mask grew on you. How it became you. Jung called it the persona. The image we create to adapt to society. It's not a bad thing. The mask is a part of survival. It helps to be accepted. But the problem starts when you forget who is underneath. You look in the mirror and see an image. You engage in dialogues and respond with patterns. You build a life and you don't even ask yourself if it's yours. Because you live to conform. To expectations. To statuses. Roles. Success. Rules of the game that you did not create yourself. And while you're conforming, you're losing. Yourself. Your voice. Your inner truth. A persona is closed. It cannot breathe instead of you. It cannot love. It cannot suffer. It is a shell. But you are not a shell. You are alive. Sometimes silence is enough to realize this. It is enough to be alone to see that all your pain is not because of people. It is because of yourself. Because you betrayed yourself to be accepted. And because of that, you withdrew even more. You closed your heart even more. You hid even more. The benefit of the persona is the illusion of control. But real life is in chaos. In openness. In honesty. In vulnerability. When you start taking off your mask, it hurts. Because there are forgotten dreams. Forgotten emotions. You are forgotten. And it's not always beautiful. It's wild. It's alive. Unrestrained. But it is real. And when you finally allow yourself to be it, the world does not collapse. On the contrary, it becomes real for the first time. A powerful conclusion. The mask helped you survive. But it won't let you live. Only the real you is able to breathe fully. And only then does the path back to yourself begin. There is a part of you that you never show. You hide it. You are ashamed of it. You consider it dangerous, wild, unacceptable. But it is the key to your power. It is the shadow. Not evil. Not a demon. It is everything that you have not allowed yourself to be. You did not scream because you were taught to be silent. You did not cry because you were told to be strong. You did not get angry because it is bad. You did not dream because it is not serious. And every time you buried a living thing, you threw it into your shadow. The shadow is not your enemy. It is your rejected part. It does not want to destroy you. It wants to be heard. Because it contains your energy, your passion, your intuition, your authenticity. A person who is not familiar with their shadow is dangerous, because they unconsciously project it onto others. Those who do not recognize their aggression are afraid of the strong. Those who have not accepted their sexuality condemn the free. Those who have not recognized their envy devalue the successful. Everything that annoys you in others is a clue. It's a mirror. It's not about them. It's about you. The shadow appears when you are tired of lying. When the soul is tired of living within the framework. When the body is screaming, and the consciousness pretends that everything is normal. And then it breaks through. In dreams. In a breakdown. In a strange look. In words that you didn't plan to say. It's not a mistake. It is a sign. Because only by meeting your shadow can you be whole. Not good. Not convenient. But real. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. You don't have to fight the shadow. You have to recognize it. To listen to it. To feel it. And then it will turn not into a threat but into a source. Because the shadow contains your potential. In the shadow are those sides that can become your support. If you let them. A powerful conclusion. What you are afraid of in yourself is your treasure. And only those who look into the darkness find the light that will never fade away. There is a moment when everything you were starts to crumble. You no longer believe in what you believed in. You don't strive for what seemed important. You look at yourself and don't recognize yourself. Everything around you seems to be in place. But there is emptiness inside. Silence. And pain. This is not a crisis. This is not a mistake. It is the beginning. Awakening always begins with death. The death of the old self. The one that was built on fear. On roles. On other people's expectations. It lived to survive. And now it has to disappear so that you can live truly. It's scary. Because there is nothing to replace it. Because the new self hasn't come yet. And the old one doesn't work anymore. And you seem to be hanging between worlds. Neither here nor there. As if in a vacuum. Like on the edge. People often try to go back. To the familiar. To the safe. To the controlled. But those who have already seen their shadow, their lies, their masks, will no longer be able to live as before. And then the pain comes. Not because something is wrong. But because the old skin comes off. The old script burns. And along with it, the image of yourself that you have been nurturing for years. This is not suffering, this is childbirth. The new you is not born easily. It doesn't come with a book. Not with practice. Not with meditation. But with inner honesty. With loss. With emptiness. And only those who are able to withstand this emptiness will find a new fullness. You do not have to know who you are. It is enough to know that you are no longer the same. And let it die. Because sometimes the greatest manifestation of self-love is to let yourself fall apart. Not to give up. But to let go. Not to run away. But to stay in the emptiness until it speaks. Because it is from there that a new you is born. Not the one they want to see. But the one who you really are. A powerful conclusion. The old self does not go away without a fight. But only after its death does silence appear, in which a true voice is born.